ratings for yesterday and see how we rated each player. Well, Amir hasn't given a rating, so you got my ratings for this one. Amir can just chime in as and when. First up, we got Vicario in goal. I gave him a 5. Look, the goal, I couldn't look past it. That really, it should be saving it. I'm sorry. For me, a lot of people saying, oh, it's not a howler. It's not a great goal, but it's not a howler. For me, it's a bit of a howler. Like, that is quite central. He got a massive hand to it as well. He's got to be keeping that out. I'm sorry. He has to be keeping it out. There is no excuse for not saving that, especially from that angle as well. I know there was a bit of swerve on it. It was a decent strike, don't get me wrong, but it's one where I think most keepers in the league should be expected to save that. So I had to give him a 5. Apart from that, he was okay, I thought. I mean, he made some saves, but didn't have to make too many other saves, did he, apart from that?
I'll be honest with you, Sim. I think 5 is being a bit too kind. Even I might even give him a 4 for his performance. That wasn't a good save. It was weak fingers, footwork maybe a bit wrong as well. Not stood in the right position. And if you want to be extra critical, the Minte chance as well. The first goal. I think if he stands up a little bit better and does a little bit better, he can push Minte more towards the wing.
Well, went down
So,
early, you think?
yeah, I think he went down way too early. Way
Mm.
too early. For me, he telegraphed it and Minter just read it and went to the right and just slotted it in. So yeah, I would give him a 4.
Okay, next up, Pedro Porro. I gave him a 7. I thought it was a decent display. He put in a lot of crosses, especially in the first half. It felt like our most dangerous avenue was when he was kind of whipping in early crosses and creating some chances. He also played a lovely early pass to Richarlison, I remember, who was got in behind, but his shot went into the side netting. I thought second half he helped Kudus quite well, but I was reading the stats and he was dangerous, but he put in 15 crosses and only one of them was accurate. So need a bit better from him from that. But I do like the amount of crosses he was putting in, and he was looking dangerous. And I thought Mitoma, I didn't think got the beating of him too many times. So I thought, yeah, gave him a 7.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's about fair. I would say 6 or 7. Yeah,
yeah.
somewhere around there for me. There was one little run that Matoma had. I think he did quite well, but yeah, apart from that, Pedro's been so solid this season. He's been one of our most consistent performers, and yeah, I'm loving the way he's playing really this season.
Yeah, I think he's yeah, and he never seems to get injured, does he? Incredible, Mr. Resilient.
Touch wood.
Touch wood, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Cuti Romero, I gave him an 8. I thought he did keep Minte onside, unfortunately, for the goal, but I thought second half he was so good, Romero. He really kind of took the fight to Brighton in that second half, stepping up, kind of getting those tackles in, made sure Rutter was not getting any joy. I think he saw Van de Ven in that first half. He allowed Rutter to turn and get that pass in behind to Minte when he stepped up, and I thought Romero saw that, and he thought, you know what? I ain't allowing Rutter to do that again. And every time Rutter got the ball in that second half, Romero, bam, right into him, getting that tackle in, either fouling him or he was or tackling him. I thought he was exceptional. And obviously, his passing, how good it is. It was that good again yesterday. I thought he would have brilliant game, mostly in the second half. But yeah, solid, really, really good performance from Romero.
Yeah, I agree with that one. That I think Cooties been marvelous. Since he's got the extra little bit of responsibility as well. He's got the big old hand around the shoulder from Frank. Yeah, new contract, just going from strength to strength with Cootie.
Yeah, absolutely. Van de Ven, I gave a 7. I think for the goal, for the opening goal, he's got to be a bit culpable because he steps out. He sees that a doggy's caught upfield. Odebear's the one tracking Minter, and he sees Rutter's about to pick up the ball. And for me, he steps up when he shouldn't. If you step up, you've got to make sure Rutter doesn't pass. And he allowed Rutter to make the pass. They got him behind, and obviously they got the goal. So I think he's got to take responsibility for that. Apart from that, I thought he played decent. Didn't have to do too many of his famous recoveries. I thought his passing was pretty good. Wasn't as combative as Romero, but we know that's not his game. So yeah, I gave him a 7.
Hmm. Uh,
Yeah,
I think just if we're going to be a little bit harsh, we know the quality that VDV has to go to sleep for that first goal, maybe just a 6. I'd give him a 6 just because I know Mickey's levels that he can play at 8s, at 9s every
yeah.
week. So yeah, I expect a little bit better from him. I also want to see a little bit more on corners. He's so big and strong, Mickey. Come on, get your head on some of them. We had so many corners yesterday and we didn't really utilize them. So
It's funny you say that because Frank said the same thing. Frank said he wants him to score more headers. He said
yeah,
because he scored against West Ham, and there was a little clip of him of Frank putting his arm around Van der Ven, and he was asked what you were saying to him. He said, "I'm happy you scored, but next time I want it to be a header." He said,
yeah,
"Oh, I
he's
need you to
right.
score more headers."
He's right. Romero and Van der Ven, they need to be getting on the score sheet this season.
Yeah,
No.
absolutely. Next up, Destiny Doggy. For me, man of the match, I gave him a 9. I thought best performance of a fullback this season I've seen in a Tottenham shirt. Came into the team, first start of the season. He was exceptional. I thought, I know the first goal caught up the pitch a bit, but that was more Odebear kind of not feeding him rather than Doggy's fault. I thought going forward, absolutely unstoppable. His power was incredible. I think the timing of the runs, him getting in behind and creating chances from the cutbacks was incredible. They just couldn't stop him. And I thought defensively, after Minte's goal, he was a non-fixture. I thought Doggy was getting in position and just snuffing him out every single time. I thought Doggy was absolutely hands down the
Mm.
best player on the pitch, and to do that from left back says a lot. He was absolutely as well. His stamina, he relentless, absolutely relentless throughout the whole game. It was incredible. He just couldn't be stopped. And there was also a moment in the second half, Brighton had a 3-on-1 and he just cut it out. He just came across, I think he was Mitoma, he stopped him in his tracks, made sure no chance came of it. He kind of just bailed us out of jail a couple of times defensively. Was brilliant in one-on-ones with Minter, and I thought going forward they couldn't handle him. Absolutely couldn't handle him. So, what a performance from a doggy! Brilliant.
No, fantastic. The only thing is, Sim, I think 9 is maybe just that little bit too high. I would go with an 8. I would go with an 8. For me, a 9, Sim, is somebody who's also contributed in goals and assists and
Mm,
done something to really stand out. But he did have a very, very solid game. Good first performance under Frank. And I want to see a lot more from you, Doggy. He's had his injury problems, unfortunately, since
mm,
since he's joined us. So, I just hope he can stay fit all season and show us what he's got. Because to be honest with you, when I used to see him, it was Udinese, was it?
yeah.
He was fantastic and he was scoring a lot of goals as well, going forward. So he's another one. I want to see him getting on the score sheet. We'll see him assisting more. And again, the only reason I'm probably being a little bit harsh is because I expect so much from you, Doggy.
Mm.
We know what he's capable of when he's at his best. And yeah, long may these great performances continue.
Yeah, I thought he was phenomenal. Next up, Bentancur. I gave him a 6. Wasn't his best game. I thought on the ball, making some bad decisions. Although was involved in the goal. I don't know whether you think he was right. Some decisions he made within the goal. 'Cause he passed it to Odebear when he could have passed it to Bergval. Then ended up passing it to Kudus when he could have shot. But look, it ended up in a goal. So can't have too many complaints. But I thought Frank made a good decision taking him off, putting Bergval deeper, and it really changed us. So yeah, Bentancur wasn't like a disaster class, but just wasn't great.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think wasn't his best. I personally, Sim, I knew we weren't winning that game when I saw the midfield. Bentancur and Palhinha, for me, that shouldn't be deployed against a team like Brighton. I would have wanted to see maybe a Sarr in there instead, or Xavi in the 10 and Bergwijn in the 8. But yeah, not his best game, but he's been solid for us this season and he's been playing pretty well. Again, he's a very silky player, Bentancur. And when he's at his best, he's unplayable. But he needs to get back to those levels. He's another one who had some very, very bad injuries, was unlucky, getting injured twice in the same season, quite significantly. So I want to see Bentancur back to his best. And I think we will. We're seeing better and better performances as the season goes on with Rodrigo.
Absolutely. Next up, João Paulini. I gave him a 9. I was so impressed with his combativeness. I think he won 7 tackles on the day, which is a monstrous amount. He won 8 out of his 10 ground duels as well. I thought, especially in that second half when we had Javi and Bergvall together, a lot of that responsibility in midfield laid on him to just keep winning the ball back and keep us on the front foot. And I thought he did it absolutely impeccably. This was a fantastic kind of defensive midfielders display. He won the ball as well in the middle of the park for the first goal, which got us on our way to scoring. And I thought, like, passing-wise, look, didn't have to overcomplicate things, but I think just kept things ticking over nicely. This was one of his better performances, really impressed, so I gave him a 9.
No, that's a fair shout. Again, I would just go one less, just with an 8, because I'd want to see something a little bit special to get to that 9 for me. But yeah, he was fantastic. In terms of our signings, I think actually in the long run, this might be our most important one, especially if we do make it permanent, and keep him around for the next few seasons. He's so solid, and he's a bone crusher. He
Yeah.
just every single tackle, he's just there. He smash, and that's what I want from my defensive midfielder. We haven't had that kind of player since probably Wanyama. I would say was the last one who did that kind of role to the level that I expect. And yeah, Paulini was fantastic. Long may it continue. And yeah, no striker, no wingers. Nobody's going to want to play against this guy because you know what's coming.
Absolutely. Next up, Lucas Bergvall. I gave him a 7. You could probably split Bergvall's rating into two ratings because first half, when he was in that number 10 position, I thought he really struggled to get in the game. His touch was a bit off. I don't think he was having a great game, to be honest, and that would probably be a 5. And then once he moved into the deeper midfielder position, I thought he came alive, and all of a sudden he was one of the best players on the pitch, and that could be like an 8. So I gave him a 7. I thought overall it was a pretty good game, especially in that second half. I thought he was exceptional. The drive and that little bite in the challenge. I remember there was that one moment where he makes a slide tackle, the ball then goes free, and he goes for another 50-50, makes another slide tackle, wins it, and then it fell to Kudus and it got us on the attack. Like, he was doing that kind of stuff throughout that second half. I thought the second half he was exceptional, but he did struggle in that first half when he was playing in the number 10 position. He kind of, the positions he was taking up was fine, but his touch was a bit off. He wasn't great in the tight spaces. But yeah, in the 8, he was absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, I gave him a 7.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think 7's fair. Overall, again, phenomenal player. The future's so bright with that kid. Honestly, he can do so many things. He's wonderful on the ball, bringing it forward. He likes a tackle as well. He gets stuck in, and he knows where the goal is as well. He scored some brilliant goals last season. The one against Liverpool really sticks out, and of course that gorgeous header against West Ham. So. Yeah, he's going straight to the top of football. He just needs to keep developing and working his game. And I think you're right, Sim. I think the 8, that's his perfect position. I think we leave the 10 for Xavi Simons, man. That guy, that he's got that position. He should have that position locked down this season. So yeah, I want to see a bit more of Bergvall in the 8. And long may his progression continue because what a player we have on our hands.
Absolutely. Next up, Wilson Odebear. First start of the season in the Premier League. I gave him a 6. Look, he didn't do an amazing amount going forward, but I think for me, what he was doing was kind of you noticed what he was doing when he went off, because once Johnson came on, I think all our ability to attack down the left was completely gone, because what Odebear was doing was receiving the ball and linking up with the doggy, finding those little passes, not giving the ball away, making the ball stick and just carrying on the attack. So I think that was really, really great, what he was doing, the link up on the left-hand side and just making sure he's linking up with his teammates and passing finding his man basically. When Johnson came on, that like went out the window. So I think I appreciated what Odubel was doing more when he went off than when he was on the pitch. He also had a couple of decent runs to the byline, a couple of good cutbacks, but obviously that could have been a bit better. But yeah, 6 wasn't like incredible, but I appreciated what he was doing when he went off.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think 6 is fair for Wilson. A lot of the work he does go unnoticed. I do think he needs to kind of learn to bring other players into the game a little bit more when he's working his wizardry out on that wing. Try and bring Udogi into the game. Try and bring Richie into the game. Try and bring the 10, whether it's Xavi, whether it's Bergval in there, whether it's Sarr, whoever it may be. Try and link up with them as much as possible. And again, for wingers, for me, I want to see output. I'm looking at goals, assists. Those are the kind of things that I want to be seeing as well. So he needs to try and, up that in his game a little bit more, and try and create. He did score some important goals last season as well. Scored a very important goal in that Europa League. So yeah, I think the future is bright for Wilson. He just needs to keep working away. Hopefully, he'll get an opportunity against Doncaster as well to show what he's about.
Next up, Mohamed Kudus. I gave him an 8. I thought ran rings around Kadioglu, especially in that second half. It was like at points it was just like keep feeding Kudus because he has a beating of him, and every time he was going down the line, getting those cutbacks, creating opportunities. Obviously, he ended up with 2 assists as well. Set up the first goal for Richarlison, set up the own goal as well. So. He was a nuisance throughout the whole game. If it wasn't for some poor finishing from Xavi, he could have had 3 assists. He was just non-stop causing problems on that right-hand side, and they didn't know how to handle him. They doubled up on him, didn't help. He could go inside, he could go outside, and it just seems though Brighton were lost in how to deal with him. And I thought as the game went on, he just grew and grew in influence. Was so unlucky right at the end, nearly got the winner with that deflected shot as well. I thought Kudus was immense. The only thing I would say is he had so many chances to create chances that, could he have done a bit more with them? But it's kind of that's I feel like that's how he is. He kind of attempts, like I think he attempted 12 dribbles on the day, completed 6, but that's a lot. And he's kind of a volume kind of player. I think really good display.
See, I'd be even a bit more generous with Kudus. I'd give him a 9, Sim, because I think that without him, we're losing that game. The wing play that he shows is just absolutely phenomenal. He can beat his man pretty much every single time. Where I think he does need to get a little bit better is with those cutbacks. He gets into the right positions, but then sometimes he'll play the wrong ball. Sometimes he's a little bit afraid to shoot as well. Just cut back in on your left and just have a pop. So I do want to see him shooting a little bit more and being a bit more selfish. But in terms of what he brings to this team, we haven't had that kind of player in a very, very long time. If you think back to some of our wingers we've had, maybe Aaron Lennon, with that fast pace. But he offers more than Lennon because he's powerful. His strength, his ability to hold off players. Just what a phenomenal player we've got on our hands with Mohamed Kudus.
Yeah, I feel like once Frank really gets into him as well, gets him being that little bit more effective, there's going to be no stopping him, isn't there?
Oh, trust me. When we start linking up, and it becomes second nature for that 10 to be running on into those cutbacks, that like that Xavi chance, you give Xavi another 5 of them, he's putting all 5 in the back of the net. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, we have to be very, very confident with what we're seeing there. Fantastic.
Next up, Richarlison. I gave him a 7. I actually was a lot better from Richarlison, I thought, than we've seen in the last few games. He got his goal, but I actually think the hold-up play, his ability to bring other players into play, his link-up play was much better than against Bournemouth and against even West Ham, where he struggled, I thought, to get into the... Well, West Ham he didn't play, did he? He came on. He was at Villarreal, struggled a bit as well to get into the game fully, but he looked a lot sharper in this game. And he got his goal, worked so hard for the team, and I thought he deserved his goal that he got. I actually thought it was a pretty good display. It wasn't bouncing off him like it has done. I thought his link-up play was a lot better. I was pretty happy with Rishi yesterday. I gave him a 7.
Yeah, I'd agree. Either 7 or 8, maybe even because he did get that goal to drag us back into the game. And I think, again, Richie's one of these players. We do need to be creating chances for him, and we didn't create that much for him, and he fed off the scraps that we did get him, and he got us a goal. His work rate, he's relentless. He's a nuisance. He causes havoc for the opponents. And yeah, he's up to 3 goals now in the Prem this season. So yeah, he's just got to keep ticking away and keep scoring those goals when he gets a chance.
Absolutely, yeah. On to the substitutes. Xavi Simmons came on I think the hour mark. I gave him an 8. I thought phenomenal cameo. Really changed the game. Not only did he elevate the team, he elevated Bergvall as well when he came on. I thought he was fantastic in that number 10. Really looked at home there, picking up those little pockets of spaces and. The way he was weaving in and out of players, creating chances. He had that shot, brilliant save by Verbruggen. He had that chance arriving late in the box when Kudus cut it back. Should have done better with that. He also was involved in the goal, brilliant in the build-up to the second goal, spraying a lovely pass out wide to Kudus after weaving outside a couple of players. And I thought he was just doing that kind of stuff total. And what I really liked about him is he was really trying to link up with Richarlison, trying to play the ball into his feet and get the ball back and receive it. He was always trying these little give and goes. And once they start to learn his game, he's gonna really explode. And considering that was the first time we saw him in the 10 in the Spurs shirt, there's so much to be excited about in that position. I thought he was exceptional when he came on.
I agree with everything you just said there, Sim. He was phenomenal. The only thing that he's not getting a 9 or a 10 in that is the fact that he didn't score one of those 2 fantastic chances he had. But we will see that. We will see that. I'm so confident about this kid. He's got all the attributes to go straight to the very top with Tottenham. And yeah, I want to see him in that 10 week in, week out. That for me, that's his position. He looked 10 times better than what he did out on the wing. So maybe even hopefully, I know Doncaster, maybe some of the youngsters will get, but why not? Why not give him, a chance to shine against a team, that he should be shining against, like Doncaster, get some quality around him, finish the game off in the first half, and then you bring on even more kids, that hopefully that's what we do.
Next up, Brennan Johnson. I gave him a 4. I have to say, it was a bad substitution, I felt, from Frank because we were really hurting them from all angles. And I thought once Johnson came on, it just killed any kind of chance creation that we were getting down the left-hand side. And I thought if you're going to do that, then maybe bring Tell on. Maybe that's a better fit because he can keep the ball a bit better than Johnson. Johnson was just wasting it every time. He was playing these passes first time inside and it wasn't working at all. He was giving it away constantly. He was quite frustrating. And actually, I think it hurt us in general. Him coming on, and I think it hurt our ball progression down that side, and it kind of killed a bit of our momentum down that side as well. Especially as well, I feel like bringing Johnson on when teams are sitting deeper is not like the best because they were sitting a bit deeper to kind of see out the game. I just don't know if bringing Johnson in that game state is the right move because he can't really deal with space. He doesn't like to take the ball into feet and build up. And I understand, sometimes you need a late runner in the box in those situations, so he can provide that. I don't know. It was just a frustrating cameo from me from Johnson.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that, Sim. Without being too harsh, it was a 4 or 5 kind of performance from Johnson. He didn't have that much time on the pitch, but what with what time he did have, he didn't really impact the game. Um, and yeah, it seemed like a bit of a strange one from Frank. Why not bring on a Tell? Um,
Mm.
yeah, but he wanted to give Johnson a few minutes, I guess, try and see if he can get on the score sheet. He likes a late goal and stuff, but yeah, it just wasn't his day today.
Interesting, isn't it? Johnson, 3 games in a row, hasn't started. So, a bit out of favour at the moment from Frank, even though
He is.
he scored 2 out of his first 3 games. And now he's been out of the team. So, Frank clearly wanting more from him as well. And next up is Thomas Frank. I gave him a 7. I think overall, good performance. I know we were 2-0 down, but I thought he managed the game well. the subs he did in general impacted the team really well. Apart from obviously the Johnson one wasn't great, but I think moving Javi into the 10, putting Bergvall deeper was a really good move. And it was brave as well because it could have left us a bit open, but we didn't. We weren't left open, and it worked a treat. I think in general, the way we set up and the way we played, we should have won the game, and we were really unlucky. Obviously, we didn't win, but I thought he managed the game fairly well, and we got us back from 2-0 down. The mentality instilled in the team really positive, and I thought we played well in general. So yeah, I gave him a 7.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. To come back and get the point, yeah, seven's all round. For me, the one negative for me is just that starting lineup. That midfield for me, I didn't want to see Bentancur and Paulinho in the same midfield, and unfortunately, he did go with those two. So that's the only slight negative that I have taken from that game.
Yeah, again against Wolves, hopefully we see that Bergvall and Simmons together.
It's got to be Bergvall, Simmons, and then a Bentancur or Paulinho, whichever one he chooses. But yeah, you've got to have more creativity and more going on in that midfield against Wolves, for sure.
All right, well, that is your player ratings. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of our ratings. Do you agree with what I rated a lot of the players, or do you disagree? Let me know in the comment section below. Just a quick update, Arsenal trailing at home.